Wukusu, Peace, Black Power, and welcome to Harlem Liberation School's YouTube channel. Harlem Liberation School is a Black nationalist, Pan-African community organization based in Harlem. We provide relevant and credible political education to help Black people wake up, clean up, and stand up, in the words of Brother Malcolm X. To do this, we provide panel discussions, political commentary, mini documentaries, leadership tips, classes, and interviews with some of our most dedicated and effective leaders, activists, and intellectuals around the world. The concept of Wukusu is very important to us and central to our mission. It is our greeting, our motto, and our guiding philosophy. Wukusu is an acronym for the phrase,
Wake up, clean up, stand up.
Wake up means developing Black nationalist and Pan-African consciousness. Clean up tells us to identify and eliminate our self-defeating behavior that gets in the way of us being our highest selves. Stand up compels us to use our gifts and our resources to exert leadership in our communities to help liberate our people. We humbly ask you to subscribe to our channel so we can reach more people. We encourage you to like, share, and comment on our videos, and we invite you to donate to our work either through sending us a super chat here on YouTube or by sending donations through Cash App to $TRUSELF143. Now, let's build. Peace and Black Power families. Brother Ajay Taimba from Harlem Liberation School, where we help Black people to wake up, clean up, and stand up through our political education. Our family, we like to believe all of our broadcasts are special because we're biased, but there are some that are particularly special because of the unique qualities and caliber of work of the guests. Tonight, we are really honored to have a couple. You know, we talk about power couples and all this all the time, and it's very capitalist oriented, very individualistic about money and materialism. But we have in our community empowering couples, man and wife, husband and wife rather, who are putting in real work in our communities and who are harvesting fruit. You know, the scriptures say they shall be known by their fruit, not by what they say, but by their fruit, what they produce. And the Barutis, I think unquestionably, have produced some brilliant scholars, some warriors, and even people like myself who are a little older still are learning and relearning through watching, reading some of the books and some of their videos. It's our honor to present to you Mama Yaa and Mwalimu and Yaa Baruti as they talk about why you should show up to the 11th Annual Complementary Conference. Let me bring them on. Peace, family.
Peace, Baba. How are you?
Excellent. Always good to see you both. Love your work.
Great
and
to
you
see
already
you.
know how me and the Queen feel about you.
Yeah, and you know that flows both ways.
Yes.
Thank you so much. You know, the last time we did this around this particular conference was 3 years ago, 2022. We were in Connecticut at our daughter's house, and I had all these trees.
Yes.
Remember that in the background? Yeah. So
White background.
Yes, it was very nice. The Queen suggested it. I didn't want it. I thought it would look corny, but it turned out to look really beautiful.
No, it's very nice.
Yes.
Yeah. So what we wanted to do is to make sure that people understand the purpose of this from the outset, whether they're watching live or in a later recorded version. We've been getting a lot of viewers, Mama Yaa and Baba Baruti, in the last 3 months, or thousands of viewers. So even though people don't subscribe necessarily, anywhere from 15,000 to 100,000 in a week come and just look at stuff.
Oh, great.
But now we got to get them to subscribe. But we're getting a wider reach, you know?
Yes.
We want to make sure that people know the purpose of this is really to promote this event, to give people the information they need to know to participate, and to give them the context why you do it, what's it about, what they're going to get from it. So those you watching live or recorded, this event is in June, but we want to give you enough time to hear the information so there's no excuse. All right. So with that said, we're going to begin. The Queen puts up Wukusu to the family.
Wukusu, Mama Brenda.
and she would be here, but she's doing a million. She's cooking and she's fixing this. She's amazing. So she's preoccupied tonight, or else she would have actually co-hosted this with me. She also says, "Welcome to the Harlem Liberation School family, special edition. Join us." And she's also saying to the Barutis directly that I love you both. That's what she said.
We love you too, Mama Brenda.
Absolutely.
All right. Now, with that said, let us get into, as they say, the nitty gritty. I want to first put up what we are talking about so there is no confusion from people watching. And I want to begin with this. For those people who may be new to your work, I can't imagine that would be too many people who are tuned in. But for those who don't know who you are and what you do, could you tell us about Akoben Institute and its mission and your mission in our community?
You want me to? Okay. Well, Ankaban Institute is our African-centered homeschool tutorial program. We're about to close out our 25th school year. And the mission remains in Ankaban is the name of a Dinkra symbol that is the war horn. And when we saw what was going on with our children, miseducated, diseducated in the traditional schools, and wanting an African-centered school for our daughter, we did opened it to other children, but we're trying to educate, not school and just academics, which there's some good school programs academically, but not African-centered, but a place where we educate our children, which is to prepare them for life and to prepare them to work toward African sovereignty. So that's the purpose of the school. And
I would just, add in there discussion that had many years ago, and this elder sister was at this event, which, if I remember correctly, was a collection of the quote unquote Black schools, independent schools at the shrine. And this sister asked, well, what do you see as the goal, the outcome, the purpose of Akoben Institute? And, you think about it for a minute in terms of the vision. And I said, the goal, the vision for Akoben Institute would be when we finish with whoever we are teaching, if one of the boys and one of the girls are the only people left on the planet, on the island, what have you, they would build African society. They would understand exactly what they need to do. They wouldn't make mistakes. They do just like the Maroons did, the Colombos did. When they left, they went to rebuild African society, not to build a black-faced European one. So that essentially is a good to equip them not only for the front line, but for building of African society if they're the only ones left. Or, that Malcolm mentality where, everybody's supposed to be able to build whatever it is. You don't need 40 million leaders. And if there's only one person, whoever it may be, they can build what needs to be built in the tradition of Africa.
Okay. Right. You hear it, family, live and direct from the Barutis. You ain't got to ask nobody else. They're telling you exactly why they started Akoben Institute, what it represents, and why you should be buying those books. Bob Baruti wrote about 30 books, man. Go to the website, buy those books, support with your labor, with promoting their events, with sending donations, whether you can attend the conference or not. There's a lot of ways you can support, and that's one of the main reasons, that one of the main objectives of this particular broadcast. Now, with that said, as a quick a point of clarification for the community, compliment sounds the same, two different words. I think homonyms, you might call it, spelled differently, two different meanings. You're the most beautiful creature I've ever seen. That's a compliment with an I.
Right.
You are my helpmeet. You are my mate, my soulmate. With you, we can rise. That's your complement with an E, complement. This is the Complementarity Conference in the second way. We're not just gonna go there and say you're beautiful, you're nice. Compliment. We're there.
That's easy.
Who's your complement? Who's your helpmeet? How do you define them? What do we need to do to get better as couples, as in relationships? So, with that clarification, what inspired you both to focus? We focus on so many things in our community, and we do need a lot of things that we need to be focused on. But what inspired you to focus specifically on this issue of complementarity between African men and women? And why would you say this topic is so important right now in 2025?
Well, I'll just say quickly, being here in Atlanta, and I'm pretty sure it applies everywhere. We dealt with a lot of, I'll say, young people in their 20s, 30s, 40s, and it seemed to me like every time we encountered a brother, he was saying, a serious brother, somebody who's doing the work, he would say, "Oh, well, I can't find any good sisters." And every time we encountered a sister who, was doing the work, they say, "I can't find any good brothers." So we assumed that the main reason for that was that they just weren't connecting. They didn't see each other. So we started out the conference. It was, a number of them were live, and people, we invited people really with the intent of trying to allow people to provide the opportunity for brothers to find sisters and sisters to find brothers who were doing the work, here in Atlanta.
But I want to add, so that was definitely a major reason of concern we had, but also just in general, we look at our people we have, and those numbers have increased. So 11 years ago, it probably wasn't 70-some%, but we have the vast majority of our households being headed by the majority being women only, but now there has been a growing number of men who are in the home without a wife. So we talk about nation building, and for a lot of our people, and I'm definitely one of those people, didn't immediately think of nation building as the focus on all couples coming together, because that's the foundation. Because you say words, and so you think about, okay, well, we're doing nation building, we're teaching the children, we're growing businesses, we're fighting for the right to be human, all of those things. But none of those things mean anything if we can't build a nation without having men and women being able to come together and form complementary unions and families. So you building a nation, but there's no foundation. It's like building a house on sand or, a rocky, unstable foundation. So what's the point? So that recognizing how important that is, that for all of us who say, oh, we're building a nation, this is the first step in building a nation.
Yes, from the rhetoric to the tangible work required. We do, our people do, as you both can attest to, I'm sure, tend to get really caught up in the rhetorical part.
Yes.
Yes.
And don't know it takes a lot of getting up early, going to bed late, doing things we don't feel like it, right? Relationship building. So yes. And speaking to that point, my daughter Nubia just graduated. We're coming back, getting ready to go to dinner. Thank you.
Your twin. I saw pictures.
Thank you. And I say, so I always kind of tease her jokingly. So who's the brother that I should be getting to know?
Yes.
And she says, "Oh, Daddy, I'm focused on doing what I got to do." And I said, "Well, certainly there has to be some young brother that's that you're checking out. He's checking you out." And she says, "Daddy, the man that I need and want doesn't appear to exist in here." So I said, "Oh, New York?" She said, "I think the United States of America."
Oh no! No.
Yeah.
So I was a little, we're joking, but I was a little bit saddened by that.
Yeah, of course.
Because I do want her, I don't want to impose anything, but I want her to, you know, to have her help meet a brother that she can depend on and who she loves and goes beyond the physical.
Yeah.
So that was like, wow. And she said all of her girlfriends. She's about 32.
Okay.
She said all of her girlfriends say that the brothers don't seem to be there. So what you're saying is absolutely relevant. And that's one of the main points I hope people get from this. This is not just they pull this out of thin air to have something catchy. This is very much needed. Very much needed.
Absolutely.
So we thank you for that. Yes. Now, in terms of the particulars, as I put this up, I'm going to bring up this graphic where we're going to talk now about when will this, and it's a virtual conference, family, so you don't have to go fly to Atlanta.
Right.
Virtual. All right. Yeah. So when will this take place? And what is it? Could you tell us about the conference theme as well?
Yes. So our theme is reflections on 40 years of blessings and lessons. And that number 40 is, we just celebrated our 40th anniversary in April. Yes, so a time for us to reflect. But 40 years of marriage, we have a lot that we can share. You know, the blessings of this 40-year union, but also the challenges along the way, and oftentimes they go hand in hand, you know. So that will be the thing. Go ahead, babe.
No, you say you grow through those challenges.
Yes. Challenges. They say challenges come to make you stronger, but you know, they will come. So people often focus on with marriage, all of the blessings they're going to get, or the people who are scared of marriage, it's just full of challenges. It's going to be a combination, just like being single is a combination of the two. So you don't get the blessing having children. You don't get the blessing of being parents without all the challenges that go along with it. So that's the theme. And I got sidetracked with the theme. But what was the first part of that question, Baba?
Basically letting people know when it's going to take place. Okay. I mean, it's on the flyer, but I still want people to hear it.
Yes. The first Saturday in June, which is generally the case, but that's June 7th this year, 4 to 7 Eastern time. So, excellent. Yes.
I'm going to repeat. June 7th. This is the Complementarity Conference.
And
Reflections on 40 years of blessings and lessons. So you see that balance right there. It tells you where this couple was coming from. They're grounded. They know that things ain't always peachy keen. There's going to be some rough patches. So they include that right there in the theme. Blessings and lessons. Saturday, June 7th, from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. Eastern time, right? And we're going to get back to some of the particulars in a minute. But right now we want to know, how would you describe your main objectives of this conference? What would you say this is the main thing we're trying to get across, or impact we're trying to have?
I guess I'd say, really, for me, trying to get clarification or get clarity on some of the confusions, especially the one that you and Yaa were just talking about, in terms of people think that this is all going to be peachy cream. Yeah. I see a lot of posts online which says, that people spend all this money and they're all prepared for the wedding, but they don't do anything in preparation for the marriage. They're not, thinking about that. They're thinking about this show. It's a reflection of how people are socialized now, where any difficulty they have, or the difficulties they have, adults come along and run interference for them and handle all of their issues and all the rest of this. And they grow up thinking that that's the way of the world. If that's the way of the world, then we are definitely in trouble, because people aren't going to be together. People aren't going to be able to deal with the difficulties and the struggles that go with that. And they're not going to get to see the power of the person who they're with, because that's when you get to see it. When things get difficult, when stuff gets hard, when life gets hard, then you get, I didn't know that she could do that. Wow, okay, I didn't know I was married to that. You get to see it, but you're not going to see most of the things that will bring you joy, that will make you proud, that you will receive benefit from, whether you did it or not, is a result of difficulty, when you have to, sort of like, not like a chess game, but it's like if it's a good game, you struggle. you learn. You almost lost, in that game. And those are your best games. So even though, complementarity isn't a game, it's still within, how the universe works. You have difficulty, then you have growth. You have difficulty, then you have growth. You have difficulty, then you have growth. So the not only bringing clarity to that, but the with that, the misguided notions of what you're supposed to be looking for, in a relationship. Most of the young folks, the young folk, when you ask them, well, list me 10 things that you want in your complement, and 8 or 9 of them would be something physical, and I asked them, okay, well, if you married, this beautiful woman or this handsome man today, and then tomorrow they were in this horrible, disfiguring accident, where's the love? It went out the window with the look. So to help people to begin to think about maybe redefining or adjusting or even feeling good about the list that they have that they're looking for. It's nice when somebody who I would say you respect or you don't have some experience says what you are already thinking, says what you already know and understand, or makes you stop and think, well, maybe it isn't all about the physical. Maybe it isn't all about the money. Maybe it's supposed to be about some emotional connection and content that is supposed to help me to deal with the problems that I'm going to deal with in this world that'll help us to be better.
And I just want to add, Baba, I see there's a lot of focus in our society on wealth and generational wealth, and that's important. But so people will spend lots of money, taking master classes, attending those conferences, but where's the focus on the investment? I see people invest a lot in the extracurricular activities. They want to make their children, become professional athletes, entertainers. So education, we will invest in huge tuition payments for children to go to the best schools and all of that. But where is the focus on investing in our relationships? Sorely needed, but without this would be one. And thankfully, I like podcasts. I see interesting podcasts on relationships. I've been married 40 years. And I still am listening to people's stories, things to learn. So, and I realized too, we learned from younger people in the village, a lot of people don't know of long-term marriages. They really, they have not seen them up close. So to be able, and in fact, it has been the village who inspired us to even do complementarity conferences, because they told us, they were applauding. They were so happy to see it, because this is not what they've seen, and unfortunately, so this over 70% of single households, this isn't a new, the disproportionate number of our marriages not lasting is not a new phenomenon. So this is definitely an opportunity to one example of investing into something, because many people want it. They want long-term relationships, but they're not necessarily investing in it. But I see people spend lots of money and time, with other things. So this is an opportunity. People can't say, nobody's doing anything to, promote or assist us in our marriages. So that would not be the case. This is just one example, of opportunity.
Appreciate that. I think that's also maybe a holdover of the capitalist framework. I'm not here trying to say we should be naked, raggedy, and out of doors, family watching. We should be able to take care of ourselves, obviously, right?
Yes.
And pass a little something down to generations. But what I believe the Barutis are hitting on a very important point, that when you become whores for money and whores for things, then you are out of alignment with the Most High, and you're out of alignment with the ancestors.
Absolutely.
Because the first thing that, if you look at the Kabbalion, or even I'm going to say the Kemetic universal laws that they call Hermetic laws now, they say the mind is all and all is the mind. So it's telling you that the most important things are invisible. are not things that you can just put on your shelf.
Right.
Right. And that's love and peace and liberation. So when we're not in alignment with that, we're gonna be spending all types of money to put our kid in basketball camp. You know, and all these different things. And not saying that's wrong, but we have to invest in the things that matter.
Yes.
And I think you're right. I'm glad that you're having the conference to help people understand what is, or at least should be, important when we look at potential mates. So he's fine, sister. I understand he got muscles. I get it. But his feet are big. Okay, whatever. But is he gonna be there when you have them children and they crying and you gotta go to work and he's home? Is he gonna take care of them? Is he gonna admit when he's in error and tell you I'm wrong and I commit to do better? Is he gonna run away with your girlfriend or your best friend or your cousin because she fine too? So these are the things. Can you trust them? You know?
Right.
Yes.
Really appreciate this conference. Is very important, family. This ain't another one of those Oprah Winfrey masterclass things. This is like real, like stuff that will save our race type of information. So we really appreciate that. I want to see if we have a few comments. Yeah, we have a few comments. We got Sister Mila Renee's in the building.
Challenges are
Great, Sister Mila.
Oh wow!
Right, and she's they're percolating in the room. We want to make sure if you're here, let us know. Sister Sheila, if I'm correct, Sister Sheila is in, I believe, in Germany.
Yes.
Yes.
Great, Sister Sheila. How are you, sweetie?
Yeah, she chimes in a lot. All right, very good, very good. All right, now we want to get back to some of these questions. Family, this is to make sure you know about the conference, why they're doing it, when it is, and how to participate. Okay. So this question may seem kind of redundant, but just to be clear, so who would you say this conference is for? Who's the target audience? Is it just people who are formally married? Is it for singles too? Is it for people? You know, who would you say this conference is for, as you see it?
Well, when you all were talking about the absence of balance or the lack of balance in terms of the priorities of people's life, my mind immediately went to Nana Amos Wilson. And he constantly talked about the need for us to have marriage, family, relationship classes for our young folk in school. These are things that they should be. I mean, we talk to children who are elementary school and they get it. They want to know. So for me, I almost wanted to say, well, anybody who is us, you know, needs to be there. So that to me, there really wouldn't be a bottom limit. You know, it'd be based upon the parent understanding the maturity or what the child can and cannot understand. But I don't think there should be a lower level on this, even though Amy,
I'm gonna say teens.
She's gonna say teens. But like I said, I talk to young folks who are, you know, 10, 11, 12, 13 years old. I understand why she's doing it this way. And when I say why she's doing it this way, I want to make something real clear. Akoben is her baby. The school is her baby. This was her idea. I'm kind of like an employee, somebody who's along for the ride.
Stop playing, Bob. You much more than an employee.
Absolutely.
Yeah, when we first met, I had no plans. I had no, you know, ideas. I'm just in school getting the degrees. And she had a concrete plan that was directed toward improving the lives of the children and the people in our community. This Complementarity Conference is, if you will, an extension of that. So for me, it's like this is something that the boys need to hear, the girls need to hear, as long as they're mature enough to understand. You know, I don't.
Oh, I agree. If they're mature enough, but in most cases, the mature ones will be teens.
Yes,
yeah.
I agree with that.
Yeah, and you know, this conference is unique in that way. That's very unique that you're looking at, that you're not on somewhere, you gotta be 18 and over. You know, it's like, no. Because these kids, man, they learning about a whole lot of stuff. I know as a middle school teacher, man, they learn about a lot of stuff. That's all I'm saying. And
Yeah.
I always thought it was odd. I'd be at like family get-togethers back in the day, and you say, grandma and grandpa would come in for a hug and kiss, and at the so-called Thanksgiving, and the grandma would say, "Oh, Luther, stop." It's like, no, there's nothing wrong with that. Ain't nothing wrong with kids seeing grandma and grandpa hug and kiss and have affection.
Yes.
Because guess what? They're here when we cursing each other out.
Right. Yes. Right. They need to see the balance.
Why not see the love? So yeah, that's good that you're thinking in that way. That it's not just for middle age.
Right.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And of course, the obvious is for singles. So of course, if you're single, you want to learn about. We want to, we spend at least 12, 13 years getting a high school diploma. If you count kindergarten. So investing in you preparing for your life, this is an area of our lives that we don't get preparation in. So definitely it's for the single people, because you still will be learning on the job once you're married, but the more you know beforehand, you increase the odds of even attracting that compliment, but also maintaining that relationship. And then, of course, those in marriage, like I said, I've been married 40 years and I'm still, watching, reading, trying to learn. So, of course, it's for singles and couples, whether they're married or not. But anyone who knows the importance of marriage, has the desire, or even maybe those who question it, well, is it? But it's an opportunity to hear, this is a long list of advantages to being married. So, it's really open for everyone.
Okay, you heard it again. This is don't try to go out here talking about this is only for married couples.
Right. No,
not at all.
This is for married couples. If I understand the Barutis correctly, married couples, singles, people in long-term relationships. They've been together 10, 15, 20 years, but are not formally married.
Yes.
All of those people and teens who need to know what coupling in a mature African, and we got to remember African-centered.
Yeah.
You're going to get a lot of relationship gurus out here, but they're not coming from that African-centered point of view.
Right.
So you're getting that African-centered foundation for all of those different age groups and different scenarios. So we again salute you for being visionary enough to see what our needs were and trying to meet us where we are. We really appreciate that. Really, really appreciate that. And I just wanted to highlight a few comments very quickly. This very touching. One is from my queen. She says, speaking to the point of priorities, she says, when faced with death last year, and she had a very troubling diagnosis. The only things that mattered to me were IJ, my children, and the work on behalf of my people. That's very touching, but it's real. It's very real. And it speaks directly to what you're saying, that when the ish hits the fan, and all that, who look good and who got this and who got the bag and the drip and all that goes out the window. It's who can I trust, who can I rely on, who's going to not judge me, who's going to be there for me. And so appreciate that, Queen B. And also, I believe this is my good brother Moon. He says, this is also touching. He says, if it weren't for the book Complementarity, I wouldn't have met my wife Mila. It gave me standards and guidelines for who would be my complement. And it also helped me to ensure that I was on point also.
Okay.
See?
Appreciate
Brother
that.
Amun. Yes. Give thanks.
Absolutely.
And I'm glad he mentioned Baba's book. So actually the name of the conference came from the Baba's book preceded.
Which came from Principles, Oracles, of Mott.
Yes. So
there it is. You more than an employee, Baba.
Yeah. I'm going to get a raise.
All right. So again, if you just tune in, this is Harlem Liberation School Online. We're with the powerful Baruti couple, Mama Yaa, Baba Baruti, Mwalimu Baruti, educators in some respects. I would even say thought leaders in terms of African-centered living and education, and also institution builders in terms of the Akoben Institute. They have their 11th Annual Complementarity Conference coming up, I believe, I'm going to pull this graphic back up on June 7th, the first Saturday of June. Mark your calendars. Don't plan no dates. And if you plan a date, bring the date to the conference.
This is a perfect date, Baba. This is definitely, I'm glad you said that. This is a perfect date. Yes.
Make this be your first date. Matter of fact, you know who you're dealing with right off the bat.
Now, and Baba, can I just throw in when you said, and we humbly receive those compliments, but Ankaban House is also, you know, an organization. So Akoben Institute is the school, and then, you know, all of Baba's books, I think it's 33 now, but have been self-published through Ankaban House. So the two are, you know, they work hand in hand.
Nice. Okay, so you have kind of the writings of Baba Baruti. 30. First of all, I don't know how many of you have written one book at all and know what it takes, outlining it, researching it, really thinking about what you're going to write. And then after you've done all that, you got to rewrite the book 2 or 3 times to correct it and revise it. So to do that 33 times, and if you read any of his books, he has the one talking about Message to the Warriors. He has the one on education. He has one on complementarity. I mean, the level of thought and time that it took, that's a gift. Those are gifts. When people take time out like that, that says a lot about them and how they see you and I. So really, go to Akoben House, get those books, family. They are nation-building books. And just like all the other work they do is very relevant things. These are not things they pick out to say what's trendy, what will sell.
Right.
This is relevant stuff that I grapple with, and I'm sure you all grapple with. So don't wait 40, 50 years. You know, Malcolm just had his 100th birthday. Everybody loves Malcolm. No, incorrect. I have elders that knew Malcolm that told me there were people there that couldn't stand Malcolm.
Of course.
And didn't support Malcolm.
Yes.
And talked behind his back. But now that he's dead and can't speak for himself, some of these, don't be like them. If you like what they're doing, support them right now. Right now. That's very important. Now, let me get off my soapbox and get back to what we are talking about here. We with the Barutis, and we're talking about why you should attend Akoben Institute's 11th Annual Complementarity Conference. And I'm really happy because the last time we did this was 3 years ago, for those you don't know. And 3 years later, we're here. Back then, it was the 8th annual. So those years go by quickly, see? Just a little bit of work consistently is better than a grandiose pontification, right? That little bit of work when nobody's looking, when everybody's sleeping, partying, that's when the work gets done, family. For those who don't know. I think we have some more. No more comments. Let me go back to our questions now. What type, without giving people too much, what type of activities or discussions should conference attendees expect on that day? Just give us a little peek into what might happen.
Well, I would like to use the words from the heart. These are our people. This is our community. These are our present, future complementary pairings that we're going to be talking to. And our goal, our responsibility is to give them the best of what we know. To give them as, you know, when I became an educator, I said I'd never lied to my students. And that's part of this process, to make sure that they know what it means to be complements in the tradition of being African. Not just, you know, how to hold hands or how to hold on to each other. No, if you are African-centered in this day and age, then you have to be a warrior. That's automatic. So if you're being a warrior on our front line and you have a complementary mate, how do you make that work so that the vision of African sovereignty is intact, is in place, is at the forefront of your work? So the discussions that we're going to make or give, the points that we're going to talk about relative to the difficulties and the benefits and the glories and the troubles of being a complementary pair, I would argue that it's going to be designed, that it already is being designed to assist warriors in finding and being the best possible complement for someone who is on the front line.
And I think, Bob, also was referring to, like, what's the format. So we got a very simple format, but that's why there's two of us.
Enjoy.
Yes. So simple format, Baba. I don't know who's going first, but we separately will make presentations on our blessings and lessons in this union. So it's a 3-hour conference, and that will be the first 2 hours us focus, sharing, and then the last hour will be a Q&A. So people are invited to ask questions either on what we've said or on complementarity in general.
Okay, very good, and that's good. We don't want to give them too much. Got to keep them a little bit of mystery. We don't want to have it. We want to spoil anything for anyone, but we know there's going to be some very tangible and relevant activities and discussions. I think one time I think I saw one, and I think you had some elder couples speaking to kind of give their testimony. I thought it was, and some younger couples. I thought that was really cool.
Both,
yeah, that was cool. That type of balance.
Panels over the years.
We've had panels over the years, and it was very beneficial. It was, of course, beneficial to us, but it was beneficial to the audience. And we heard from some of the younger folks about how, they enjoyed it, and they didn't, that there were things that they learned, serious things to learn. I remember, was that a guy or woman said, do older couples have sex? And
well, it wasn't said like that.
Yeah, but that was the essence of it. And she or he was honest with their question. They had, no idea. What they had heard was, no, when you get a certain age, it's all done. So that person at that event for that question, they got something that they needed in terms of their vision of where relationships go.
Now, this is complementarity. So, Baba, my recollection, and you and Mom have been together, how memories are different. So at one of our conferences, so at the conferences in person, people were allowed to put questions, write questions on index cards. And the question was more like, does sex end or, become less important after you get married? So it was nothing about
after marriage.
We all agree to disagree. But
see,
anyway,
they're modeling it. They're modeling what we're talking about. They don't have to. It's unity without uniformity. They have different perspectives, but they're still a unit working together.
And that's very much true of us. We disagree on so many things. And what I took from that, I'm like, there's a couple in this audience, and because they wanted us to say what they've been telling their spouse, that, something's wrong with you, because look, other people saying, we'll know what you're talking about. No, if anything, it's better, because you don't have to worry about, depending on your age, children out of wedlock, whatever, or, okay, how long is this going to last? Not that because you're married, it's forever, but, a lot of you're more comfortable, and it improves the relationship but anyway, I think, that was when I first read it, I'm like, okay, somebody putting their spouse in check with one, through our answer to that question. But anyway.
Okay, well, we are coming to a close with this last question, and then I'm going to, as I ask this question, I want to make sure we have this graphic up for a visual. I wanted to know, what would you say, if you were to summarize, are the key benefits that people will gain, whether they're married legally or not, or single or looking, from participating in this year's Complementarity Conference? What do you think?
I'm going to say insight to the advantages and challenges that come with marriage. So even though we have our specific ones, they're general to couples in general. So, and like I said, a lot of people really don't have that vantage point. And even when people who have been married for a long period of time, oftentimes we don't discuss So, or you're not seeing it firsthand. You don't live with those individuals. So a lot of things, and I know in my case, my mom was twice divorced, so I didn't get to see it firsthand. So you get a lot of insight that can be helpful to you, you know, in your relationship, whether you're currently in one or not.
And even, you know, my parents were together until my father transitioned. You know, that was all I knew. But, you know, with time I came to discover there were things that I didn't recognize. I didn't know. I didn't, know about the conversations when my brother and I were asleep and, deciding how things were going to work and all that. I didn't see that. I saw a lot of things, of course. I learned a lot of things, of course, but there were things that I didn't see even in that relationship that I got from other people who had been married or who were married.
Yeah. So basically, insight into marriage.
Insight.
Yeah.
Insight.
Relationships take some skills and knowledge. It's funny how we apply it to engineering and law and all these things. And we think that relationships don't require knowledge and skills, but they do, like anything else. And it seems to me that that's definitely a big part of what people get from a conference like this. Now, I want to also say I have a ticker going by on the bottom. All right, so I want to go over this. And obviously, this will be recorded when it's done, and you can go and look at it again. But to register for the virtual conference, registration donation is $40 if you're a couple, $25 per adult, $12 per team. You're going to send that to, if you're doing PayPal, we have the information there, Yaa Baruti at yahoo.com. Cash App is $Yaa M Baruti, or Zelle is Yaa Baruti at yahoo.com.
Yes.
Right? But again, you could also go to Mama Yaa's Facebook page, and that flyer that I showed, there's a little bit more at the bottom, and it has all of that specified as well.
It's on my page too.
And Mwalimu Baruti's page. And I think, did you leave a number too? I think there might be.
Yes, there's a number on this flyer. You can't see it because of the caption you have underneath, the tape underneath it, but there it is. So it's a phone number as well as they can email us.
Okay. So please, family, don't go out here talking about I didn't see the ticker on the bottom, and they didn't say. We did say we did show you the ticker. You can go back again and see it, and there's an email and there's a phone number there that you can call. So whether you saw it here or not, you can call or email and get the information you need. It's for all of our people. It's not just for if you're married with in a church and with a marriage license, family. It's for everybody that's interested in developing and maintaining a foundational love that's African centered, that's going to produce fruit. Not just I love him, I love her. It's going to produce fruit for the community. To me, that's one of the key defining pieces. Who in the community can say they benefit from your existence? And if nobody can say that, then I don't know. I don't know how to frame that. But that's important.
And
all right. So
can I add something?
Please.
For people who cannot attend the conference for whatever reason, want people to know on our website, in which you told them, www.ankabenhouse.com, we have Baba and I taught a course on complementarity. So it's like a 4-lecture course, but also there are lectures as well that's available. Right. And Baba's book, Complementarity. And I tell you, I'm just still amazed at the number of people in the village who say that book assisted them in, finding their complement. So we get rave reviews on that book. But he also has a follow-up book called Complementarity Notes. You want to talk about the book?
I guess real simple. Complementarity, if you will, is a theory. Complementarity notes is the practice. And I really don't want to use a theory because it sounds so academic, when to me it's really plain. But it's like, this is what it is. This is what it's supposed to be. Complementarity notes. Well, this is how we keep it together. How do you keep the music playing? As complementarity notes.
And I want to say, Bob, so the books are available, but we have DVDs for some of the old schoolers. But for the younger people who don't have the DVDs, we also have on-demand streaming.
On-demand streaming.
So that's,
Nice.
Another option for people who can't, and even for people who may attend, but, additional sources available to them, but also that they can recommend to people who may not, attend the conference.
That's excellent. That's even more resources, family. So we have up here www.akobenhouse.com for more lectures, books, and more general information on complementarity and even beyond, and on other topics that you can go hear lectures and get more books. We should be lifelong learners as frontline warriors, right? Right, Mwalimu?
Absolutely.
You got to be lifelong learners. I know he says that all the time. So we have to keep reading. Now, I want to put up some people. This brother Manza, we call him Chief. He's in a brotherhood I'm in.
Yes.
Jiko La Kumbunga, Eye of the Whirlwind. We call it.
Right. A baby Fahodie, brother Manza.
Brother is originally Mansa. I might be misrepresented. I know he's from Philly, and he relocated to Sierra Leone some time ago. He's been living in Sierra Leone for some time
with his wife.
Say again.
With his wife.
With his wife. That's right. That's correct. Yes, he's a good brother and a very deeply knowledgeable about our community organizing and things of that nature. Sister Mila says that the Imhoteps are registered.
Yes, they are. Asante Sana, Imhoteps. Yes, they are.
Absolutely.
The Queen Bee says she's purchasing our tickets now.
Barbara, you have to be there.
I can't wait. I can't wait. I can't wait. I'm very excited.
Can I make another quick point?
Yes, please.
Also available on our website, Baruti has books on African manhood. Well, specifically Asafo, the book, because we're talking about the unions, but before we become unions, we need to work on being strong African men. So his book, Asafo, and he has the book as well as lectures. He's done a course on it. So, there's going to be lots of resources on the site. But also, I haven't written a book, but I did a course on African womanhood. So that's available on the site as well. So,
Akoben House?
Yes. Yes.
Excellent.
All of this, the preparation we do for careers and all of that. So that's preparation for marriage. And this doesn't end when you get married, but, being the best African woman that you can be going into it is going to make the difference in African man, even before you come together in that union. So that, those type resources would be helpful too. For people who really I want to invest. And also when you say that you want to complement, because there are people who say they want to get married, but they're not doing anything to indicate that to the ancestors, universe, whomever you believe. So it's like saying, I want to become a millionaire, but you're not doing any work. You just waiting for this to magically happen. So improving yourself. And they say one of the best things, one question is, what should you do to prepare for marriage? And one of them is work on your healing, because definitely we as African people, the trauma, intergenerational trauma of living in this society. So working on yourself is a major work that you can do, because if you're healing, so you're telling whomever you believe in, ancestors and whatever spiritual entities, I'm serious about this. So I'm doing the work. And when you focus on doing the work, you're attracting that versus someone who's in great need of healing, and you're not working on it. It's not a good thing for you. Probably not to get in the union, because you bringing in that trauma if you're not addressing it. We all can have it, but are you in the process of healing? Otherwise, you have people, what they're calling trauma bonding. So they're just bringing trauma, and then you just, more of that. So working on ourselves is important.
Appreciate that. Now I'm looking. The Queen has some good questions I want to share with you while we have you here. And so I think she's asking more about getting a sense of the scope of the resources. She wants to know, do you have a course or maybe tips on how to raise a compliment? I think she's saying how to teach the children, I guess, about complementarity or the things they should, the types of warriors they should be, qualities they should have.
Well, I mean, for me, if you're doing the work, if you're doing the study yourself, so if a brother or sister, in fact, Iwa is for brothers and sisters more than any other book. If you're reading Iwa, then you understand the concept of righteous character. You understand the kind of person you're going to be. You're supposed to be demonstrating that in your day-to-day life. They should be able to see it. And of course, if opportunity avails itself, those teachable moments, then you get an opportunity to explain to them, what they want in a man or what they want in a woman. I think that, of course, requires that self-knowledge. So for me, that's what the books, High Ground, Identity, Iwa, Asafo, Message to the Warriors, that's why those were written, because I've seen so many who don't really have a definition of what manhood is about. And of course, they were also written for the women, so they would know what to look for in a man. So if you are clear on your definition, it should be, it should be evident. But I didn't write anything specifically to say, here's how you teach your children, here's how you explain. Well, To Educate a People has some things in there, but nothing like where my focus is on the character. Because if the character is straight, then everything should be straight.
That's amazing.
And that's, Iwa and Identity and Message to the Warriors and Asafo. So those, at least for the men, will explain what you're supposed to be about. And if you're that, then your children should get it. And if you see any hole in what they're getting, you have the knowledge, you have the insight to be able to give them that.
And I would say if you're in a complementary union, a lot of things, so even children can grow up in a home and a lot of things, and their children will go over their heads. I think we don't, so like we'll explain, oh, you need to save money, and we'll teach things like that. But so when it's in your union, there are going to be times that you disagree, and you can explain to, they say some, old school parents, the children never saw them, disagree. Now, no, we don't want the children seeing us shouting and out of control, but they need to be able to see, yes, when you get married, you will disagree, and they need to be able to see, okay, we can discuss it, and it doesn't magically, the problem is solved. But they need to see, and it needs to be pointed out to them, this is what you do. When you have disagreements, we come together and we talk about them, and we're going to talk respectfully. We're not going to call, each other out of the names, but actually demonstrating as you're doing the things. For example, a big issue going on today is there's a lot of women who have grown up in houses where the mother that was not in the home. They tap more into their masculine side. So a woman in a complementary, so part of that is her understanding it herself, but to point out, okay, this is more the feminine versus the masculine, and I defer to your father in certain areas because this is how we complement each other, and he defers to me. But actually explaining those things, because in the same way that we explain to them how to do the chores and all these other things, allowing them to witness, and you're coming out and explaining, because we put a lot of emphasis on their education and extracurricular activities, because even children not even knowing about chores. But look at, this is what we do. And then if they happen to see things that you shouldn't do, okay, somebody lost their temper. Well, this is what we should not do. But we're human. We make mistakes. We're not going to hold grudges. We're going to apologize, pointing out to them what you do and shouldn't do, in relationship. And I know I'm from a small town, so we would hear about what's going on over there. And that was a teaching tool for my mom. That's what you don't do.
Right.
So.
Appreciate that. I had one more question from, I believe, the Queen, but Brother Mansa makes a statement that again is touching. I think, and we need to get our flowers so that you get a sense of the impact. He says Asafo had the same impact on his early development as the autobiography of Malcolm X had on him. That's a heck of a statement, Baba.
Woo!
Baba, that's a heck of a
Woo!
statement,
Wow.
testimony to your work. Yeah, that's powerful.
It's going to take
That's
a little while
powerful.
for it to sink in.
Yeah, he's gonna have to be very humbly receive that one.
Yeah,
That's powerful.
Wow.
Wow.
That's beautiful.
And that's great, Baba. See, that's what I mean by you both are modeling, because I did a live one time. I said we call out all these greats' names, what they did historically. Who's gonna call your name? Who's gonna say what you've done? What are you gonna say to your grandkids about the role you played in Black liberation or African self-determination and sovereignty? So this shows us that yes, you are impacting the people in the same way that Malcolm did. That's a beautiful thing, because we always give Baba Malcolm his due. He's an ancestor now, but he's asking us, as we call in his name, he's saying, what are y'all doing to continue to work? And I think we got an answer right there. That's beautiful. And same with you, Mama Yaa, the same thing. Akoben Institute, that institution is feeding the minds, employing people for what, 25 years now? They're close to 30 years.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, we're very, very small. We haven't necessarily employed people, but
we've had volunteers.
Yeah, but we've definitely been teaching and preparing our children for 25 years.
Yes, yes.
To build a sovereign African nation. So.
That's important. So it's continuing the work. And you know what? In some cases, if we really on point, we might be doing work that even our predecessors didn't get to do. So Garvey didn't get to go to Africa at all. But we got some people, right, in our generations that have gone to Africa, built schools, and Brother Mansa is doing wonderful work in Sierra Leone. So that's very encouraging to me when I see a comment like that. That's really good.
Warriors have this tendency to put things into perspective. Because for me, Malcolm is like so far ahead and higher, if you will, than me. You know, it's not funny. I see similarities in our lives, but that's to give me strength, vision, understanding, patience with myself in terms of my development. But so things like this statement right here, they put things in perspective for me, and it allows me to better look at, if you will, what I've done, as well as give me applause, so I know to keep moving in that direction.
That's
right.
We're on the right path.
Yeah, but you can't. That's a conclusion you can't really come to on your own. That has to come from the people who are around you, who read you, who see you, because you can't see that. If you're doing that, if you're thinking that you're all that, then your ego is out of place.
Absolutely. And it also is a reminder of Baba that you can't be doing this type of work and then they see you up in the club. I'm being funny, but just being a little light. But okay. Now, the Queen had another question. I'm trying to find it real quick. She says, oh, this is a good question, Queen B. She says, do you offer any complementarity retreats? That's interesting.
We have talked about it, but we have not done so. And I think we were talking about it before the pandemic, COVID 2020. We had talked about it, but we have not.
It's still in the plans.
Yes, we got to we got to manifest that. Yes,
that is
excellent. Yeah.
That is going to happen.
And this is not, doesn't have much to do with this particular broadcast, but before we leave, just a question that's on my mind and heart. People look to you, whether you know it or not, as thought leaders as it relates to African-centered living, African-centered intellectualism, African-centered activism, institution building. A lot of our people are very paranoid and scared because of the Trump administration, all the foolishness he's a part of, and people like him before he was born have been a part of.
Yes.
Do you have any message for the rank and file members of our village and for the frontline warriors of our village, marching orders or ways to look at this so that they're not, trembling in fear whenever they watch the news and feel demoralized? Anything you want to say to them?
Well, for me, distractions are a strategy, a tactic of war. Whether the enemy is doing it intentionally or not is irrelevant. When you're distracted by something like this instead of doing your work, then you're hurting yourself and you're hurting us. As a people, don't let what you can't see coming, what they're doing, interfere with the work that you're doing. There's no guarantee that just like there's no guarantee that African people can't be re-enslaved, there's no guarantee that these beasts are going to win, and they're not going to win. So we need to stay focused on our work, what we're doing, because we are sure-footed in where we're going. We know exactly what we're doing. Clowns are going to come up, left and right every day to keep us and to make us unfocused. Facebook does it all the time by cutting this off and making it so you can't see that. All these distractions take away from us knowing our mission and doing it, achieving it. And, you don't worry about what's going to, as long as you're doing what needs to be done, as long as you're doing the work, as long as you're righteously doing everything that you need to do to the best of your ability, Trump can go to that real special place and he can burn for quite a while as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, and I just add, we can't live in fear.
No.
So African people have dealt with much worse than Trump and whatever he can come up with. So we have to, that notion of keep your eyes on the prize. So we're working toward African sovereignty, and it's to be expected. So whether it's whoever, Democrat, Republican, they come up whatever their shenanigans are. And I'm not saying, we shouldn't have any concern about policies, harm that is being done to us. But at the same time, if we aren't able to, which we aren't able to control Trump, and if Trump disappeared, he's just one of millions. But we have to be focused on, we see the reality, we can't, on the other hand, just, I'm not going to listen or read any news and bury our heads in the sand. So we need to be aware of what's going on. But also we should take this as a reminder, this is why we need this sovereign African nation, which will take an extended amount of time. So to the best of our ability, if we can afford land, you need to be on some land. You need where you can. Our grandparents survived, many Black people survived the Depression because they were on land. You can eat. If you have a place to live, if you live in a tent, people live in shacks to make sure, what can you do to provide for your basic needs and keep the focus on building a sovereign African nation where this isn't our daily reality of, what these devils are doing to us next. But more immediately, in the same way that the pandemic, many of us, who lost their jobs, I need to come up, need to be an entrepreneur. So those federal workers, that used to be a good job for you money-wise. You're going to have to come up with plan B, come up with these plan Bs that we should be our plan A, because when we're clear, we can't depend on any of them. So we have to make sure all of our basic needs are met, and that should be our focus, and not be shaking in our boots. What is he going to do next? Well, why are you worried about that? No, divert that energy to, need basic needs. We need land, grow food. Those are our basic needs, and, food, clothing, shelter.
There you have it. The powerful Barutis family are in the building. And remember, they are modeling what they believe.
Yes.
And if you are moved by what you see amongst them, ask yourself, well, how can I be more like Baba Baruti? I mean, this is real. Ask yourself, when you're going through stuff, well, how would Mama Yaa approach that? because that's a very real, simple way to build on the work of others and to bring honor to our ancestors. When I'm in things, I say, what would my dad say about that? I never met Malcolm. He was killed 3 years before I was born, but I say, how would Malcolm look at that? And it helps me. So we don't have to just do that with ancestors. If we have great people amongst us, use them and by asking yourself, well, how would they move? How would Baba look at this? Would Sister Yaa be all upset, or how would she handle this? Because I find that that's a very good way to bring value to our people, and they may not even know you're doing that, right? But that's a very simple way to do it. Use them and others like them. If you see value in our people, use them as models for your own behavior. Is what I'm trying to say. You know,
because we definitely look to our elders. You know, Mama Marimba Ani.
Yes, Ashe. Yeah.
The Baba Sanyika Weezier and Mama McKinney, his compliment. So we definitely look to our elders for guidance.
Wow, I remember. I think when I was a teen in Harlem, I would go to First World Alliance in high school, and I think her name was Donna Richards.
Yes.
Her born name. I think I actually saw her a few times in First World Alliance. She's been at it for a long time.
Yes.
Much respect.
Yes.
A long time.
Much respect. Yeah.
It's going strong.
Yes.
I mean, I'm like, I look to her. Ooh, I want to be you, Mama, when I grow up. She is going strong.
Yeah. So look at the Barutis and others that you love and respect their work. Don't just love and respect their work. Emulate them. If you know, emulate, get their books, look at the lectures and say, well, how can I be a little bit more like this? And know that they're doing the same. They just told you they look to elders as well. And that's how we keep the cycle going.
Absolutely.
All right. So I just want to put this up one last time as our reference point. We have Akoben Institute's 11th Annual Complementarity Conference. They're trying to help teach us what it means to be a complement, and how we can be better in our relationships, how we can learn from their 40 years. That's why the theme is reflections on 40 years of blessings and lessons. The great, beautiful stuff you want to write home to mom about, and the stuff you talk to your boys or your sister friends about the challenges, right? And it's going to be the first Saturday of June 7th, from 4 to 7 p.m. Eastern. It is not in a physical location. It is a virtual conference. And we have on the bottom scrolling ways to learn more about the donations to give and where you send them to. We also have a phone. May I read the phone number out loud?
Yes.
Yes, please.
Yes, absolutely.
Let me move this. Oh, so you can also call 404-753-7237 for more information, as well as you can through email write to Yaa Baruti, that's YAABARUTI, the ampersand yahoo.com for more information. So there should be no reason why you're saying I don't have information about the conference. I want to thank the Barutis for everything, all the work you do, for giving us a good model. What does African-centered coupling look like? Beyond the books, what does it look like? How do they move? You know, that's very important, I know, for me and for many others. So we thank you for that. And we are going to be there, and we hope that people watching, we hope that this show will help other people to be there too. That's really what the whole purpose of this was, to promote this show. The Queen says that she wishes you love, light, and liberation to you, the Barutis, and to those watching.
Yes, give thanks, Mama. And Baba and Mama, we want to thank you for this invitation. So we're so busy. You know, we haven't reached out to people, help us promote. So we are so thankful that, you know, you reached out and, you know, to assist us in getting the word out. So Asante Sana, and for all the work that you do on a daily basis. But we appreciate your concern that, you know, helping us to get this info out. So Asante Sana.
Yeah, because folks need to know we didn't reach out to you. You reached out to us.
And
that's a major statement. And we need those voices out there, such as yours, that's, the lane that needs to be covered well by us. Got a lot of bad lanes with folks who are trying to bring things to people's mind, but this is one of the lanes that needs to be protected. This is one of the lanes that needs to be sustained.
Oh man, Barbara, that means a lot. So you're saying that you both see value in Harlem Liberation School?
Absolutely.
Oh man,
for years,
right?
For years,
yes, absolutely.
Yes.
There's a lot of imposters out here,
yes,
and a lot of so that's important.
A lot.
Yeah, that's very important. Appreciate you both, and we will be there. Everyone watching, I want to say this too: if you can't make it, be a frontline. You know how leaders and warriors think? They don't think about what they can't do.
Right.
They always have options of how they move. They'll say, "Well, I can't make it, but this is so important that I got this $40." Or this 35, or this whatever 12 for this teen, or this couple, or this single adult to go. So if you got a little paper, the Most High has blessed you with a little bit of the dead presidents in your pocket. Throw some at the Barutis and set it up so somebody else can come. But do not do nothing. If you can't do that, share this link, promote it so that people know about it. Call somebody, say, hey, did you know about the conference coming up? Don't just watch us and do nothing. Because that's a sure way for us to be erased off this planet, family. We have to be active.
Absolutely.
Everything we do.
Go to the website, and you can get some of the information online that if you would get at the conference. So you have lots of ways of supporting. Yes.
That's right. And we thank you all again. With that said, we're going to say Wukusu to the Barutis, to our family watching. Thank you for supporting them, for supporting us. Without you, there is no us. And so that's just a reciprocal thing. That's kind of Mayat, right? That reciprocity. Yes. Make sure you go to the conference. Make sure you look at the graphic. Make sure you watch this again. Show it to people. Share the link. Go to akobenhouse.com. There's no excuse, family. We are the saviors we're looking for. That's period. That's it. But that's it, family. Peace and Black Power. Thank you for watching. June 7th. Peace, family.
Peace.
Peace.